guys, welcome back to my side of YouTube. And today this was a bit of a spontaneous recording because I was like watching a video by Coffee and Bible Time. Specifically, it was like Ashley talking, and she was talking about like how we need friends, Christian friends specifically, and I'm like, I couldn't agree more. And I've seen a couple of videos of this. I'll actually link her video down below, and then maybe if I can find other ones as well, I'll link those down below as well. And I've seen kind of a couple of videos of this, and there was just an idea that I had in my head that popped up like a couple of months ago. It popped up somewhere last year, okay? And sometimes I forget about it, but I'm like, I think this is such a good idea, and I think this is what people should implement in like videos that talk about this kind of thing. So today I'm not actually going to be talking about Christian friendships and why those are important. That's not what I'm talking about today. What I'm just talking about is an idea that I think we could all implement in a way that I think it's an idea that we can all implement. And let me get to the point. The idea is basically that whenever you like come across a video, or like one of your favorite YouTubers talks about like friendships and why we need Christian friendships specifically, at the in the comment section, in the DMs, not me confusing YouTube with Instagram, in the comment section we can actually all just like maybe state our name, and then like what country we're from, and like maybe the province / state that we live in, because that way we can actually start notifying some people who might live in our area or live in our country, of like our existence, and see that, hey, I'm looking for a Christian friend and that person's also looking for a Christian friend, and then you guys can like swap either Instagram usernames, then from there talk a bit, and if you want to get deeper, get each other's numbers, meet up, do the whole shebang. Because the whole reason why I came up with this idea is because I just thought, well, I think this would be the greatest way for people who are looking for Christian friends to meet up. You start in the comment section of people's videos, and maybe even if one of like the YouTubers like that's talking about this, maybe that person doesn't have friends either, then like obviously they probably put their Instagram link in the description, in the description of their video, or it's probably on the, I don't know what that thing's called, but probably in the description. So just click on that, and then go text them, DM them, be like, hey, you were talking about Christian friendships recently, and I don't have Christian friends at all, and then y'all can start talking, just communicating, sharing your faith with one another, encouraging one another. I don't know if any of this is making sense. Let me read what I wrote, because I feel like when I type things out, they make way more sense than when I just blabber on and say things. So let me just read. English just died there. Let me just read what I wrote. Hopefully it makes sense to everybody. So I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but for everyone who says they don't have Christian friends, I think it would be a great idea if you guys told each other which country you live in and which state / province you're in. Then you can find people who live around you and get each other's Instagram usernames and start talking, and get yourself some Christian women or men, if you're a Christian guy, who live near you, who could potentially become your Christian friend. Hope this idea was helpful. So that's what I typed in like someone else's response, because they were talking about like how they don't have Christian friends and that they loved the video, So I just thought that would be like a good idea. Hopefully it is a good idea, hopefully it makes sense. But you guys can do that in the comment section in this video, but also in just the comment sections of videos of people who are talking about Christian friendships. Because like they say, and I'm not getting into it, but Christian friendships are really important, especially when you're down, when you're discouraged, the whole situation, but also when you're up, and when when life is great and when things are going great, I think Christian friendships are there for both. And Christian friendships aren't just going to be these like romanticized, beautiful times where we're reading our Bibles all the time and we're worshiping God through singing and dancing all the time. And sometimes it's going to be hard, you know. Sometimes we're going to have arguments. Sometimes we're going to fight with one another. Sometimes we're going to get angry, and sometimes we're going to disagree with each other theologically. And sometimes those theological views could be huge to us, you know. And sometimes we might say mean things to one another, and we all need to give each other grace. But I just think that this would be something that would really help a lot of people, because I know how much a lot of people in this world, specifically people who have either recently came to faith in Christ, or just people who've been in the faith for years, who haven't really found like their group of Christian friends. That's also something I like desire. I have Christian friends, but like they don't all know each other, and it's not like we have a Christian friend group. And that's something I also want to like design one. I'm not design, like a friend of mine, one of my besties and I, we were thinking of like forming like a Christian group on WhatsApp. And there's where we meet up like maybe weekly or every second week and just come together and like maybe spend like a whole day together just doing a bunch of Christian things, encouraging one another, being vulnerable and open with one another, so that we can really do life together. But that's all just in the idea phases. Hopefully soon we can start really talking about that. And girl, Casicans, you know who you are, bro. We need to do that, bro. Okay. We still need to get that. We still need to do that, okay? Because hopefully we can like talk about it in June or July, and then by August or September it's up and running for Christian girls in South Africa, specifically in Cape Town. For people in other countries, you guys can start planning your own things, because I think this is stuff that is needed, where Christian girls are like coming together and really doing life together, in the good times and the bad times, in the amazing exciting times that call for celebration, and also in the hardships where, you know, it calls for prayer and maybe even fasting sometimes, like all of that. So I just thought that this was an idea that would be helpful for people. And because a lot of people desire Christian friendships specifically, and in today's day and age that can be so hard to find, because as people have seen, more and more people are leaving the church in maybe a lot of the countries more on the west side of things, whereas more people are coming to faith more on the east side of things. But obviously we're not in the east, so being in the countries that we're in, it can get quite hard, because we started to see more and more people maybe who we once held dear in our Christian walk slowly slipping away, and just a bunch of things. So maybe you've always been in the group where, you know, it wasn't religious, nothing to do with Christ or Christianity or anything like that, but now you believe in God, you believe Jesus is King, you believe all these things, right? All these good things. And now finding friends who don't mock your beliefs, finding friends who actually encourage you in the beliefs that you hold, it can be very, very hard. And being a Christian can be very, very hard, especially trying to do that alone. It can be very hard, even though you're not really doing it alone, you're doing it with God. But God did not design us to do these things just with Him and us alone. He designed it also for us to do it with other Christians, so that we can fellowship together, so that the body can gather, so that we can have other people who hold us accountable, other people who we can be vulnerable with. Because I don't know about other people, but for me personally, I know other people it's not the same. For me personally, it is very easy for me to be vulnerable with God, because I'm like, He knows everything anyway, so what the freak is the point of hiding it all from Him? There's no point. So I cry, I be out here angry, I be screaming, I be out here doing the whole thing with God, and I know He's just like, my child, I'm listening. You know, versus like human beings. If you try to do some of the screaming and the shouting and, you know, where you're not filtering your words, like people can start getting hurt, people can start doubting your faith, because it's like, you're not sounding like a Christian right now. And I'm like, okay guys, y'all are being a bit dramatic here. I know the desires that people have in their heart for Christian friendships and just to be surrounded by biblical Christians who can encourage you in your walk, but who you can also encourage in their walk. I know that that can be very hard to find nowadays, specifically solid Christians, because I think you can find people who call themselves Christians, but then when you actually start assessing their lifestyle and the things they do, the things they believe, the things that they affirm, you're like, I actually can't get biblical counsel from you. I actually can't ask you for advice, because I think your advice is not going to come from a Christian standpoint. It's going to come from a more worldly worldview, and that's not what I'm looking for. The reason why I want Christian friends is so that they can encourage me in my faith, so that we can run this race together, so that we can move forward and serve Christ and bring glory to Him in all that we do, separately but also together. And to have someone who calls himself Christian but isn't doing those things, isn't desiring to glorify and honor God first, I don't know how that would work when it comes to Christian counsel and Christian advice, and pulling you out of maybe overthinking or anxiety or all these other things from a non-Christian worldview when you're desiring for a Christian to help you with that. Because obviously non-Christians can help you too. I'm not saying that they can't. Sad. My camera just stopped recording out of nowhere, which is fun. But overall, what I'm just trying to articulate, what I'm just trying to say is that we all need Christian friendships. And for the people who desire Christian friendships, for the people who want to have Christians surrounding them, who want to have all their besties be Christians. Not saying we can't have non-Christian friends. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm pretty close with one of my sisters, and she's not Christian, so like there's nothing wrong with having non-Christian friends, okay? However, their worldview is not the same as ours, and sometimes there's certain kind of encouragement that you need that only a Christian can give you. So that's just what I'm trying to articulate. That's just what I want to showcase for people at the end of the day, that we can find Christian friendships, and sometimes it can feel very hopeless, like, oh, I'm just never gonna have Christian friends. But this is one of the ways where you can find Christians. This is one of the ways where it's like, hey, I live here, this is my name, this is my Instagram username, in case you want to follow me and DM me and learn more about me and my faith and ... And if we live near one another, we can start like becoming friends, and then we can all meet up, whether it's just you and that other person, or you and a couple of people who live in the same place, and all of you guys meet each other for the first time. Go off, guys, go off. But another thing that people could also just do is, guys, like, find out if your church, if you're not going to church, stop going to church. Okay, so maybe that's also another thing, church, all right? But that's also, it's a whole other separate video. But if you are going to church, find out from your church if they have like if you're a teenager in high school, find out about youth and the youth group that they hold. Maybe some churches, they have it on Wednesday, some on a Friday, some on a Sunday. So find out from your church when they do their youth, every Friday or every Wednesday or every Sunday. Find out from them. So if you're in high school, you can start attending that, and that's how you can find Christian friends. And then you can also have Christian leadership, the whole beauty. And then if you're out of high school, again, find out from your church if they have something like for young adults or for people who are out of high school. And if they don't, create your own, okay? Like, if you don't think you have like leadership capabilities or anything like that, find out from like someone. Maybe this is why I'm like, first get involved in church. Maybe that might be a great way to start, by finding Christian friends. Get involved in church, start serving your church in any way, shape or form. If you're a photographer, find out if they need a photographer at church. You can serve that way. If you want to learn so many different things from church, just ask them, hey, I want to serve. Is there anything that you guys need help with? Is there people that you need? Because I found out recently, just from the like 2 churches that I attend, right? There's one church that I attend on Sundays and one I go to on Fridays for youth. they're actually really needing people, right? Because of the pandemic, and maybe because of exams, maybe because of other things going on in people's lives, I don't know. The churches are running low on staff when it comes to people who serve on Sundays or people who serve on Fridays at youth, for example, or on Wednesdays or Sundays. I don't know when different churches do it on different times, but churches are running low on people who are willing to serve, people who are willing to give their time up to serve the church in some way, shape, or form. So just find out where you can fill in the gap, and that way you can make friends. And then if you don't think you're confident enough, or you have the capability or skills to start a group for people your age, find out from your church if there's someone who does, someone who's willing to like take the reins. You're like, you can do that. I'll participate. I'll bring people in. You lead though. You lead. The likelihood is that person will drag you with them, and you're like, now we lead together. We're gonna lead together. But that's also just another way that we can just start these things, where we can have groups all over the world in different countries where Christians come together, whether it's on group calls, on Zoom calls, or just texting one another, or whatever it may be, where we can just all come together and fellowship with one another. Yeah, so I just hope that's helpful. But it all starts, we can all start with them DMs. I mean, not the DMs. Why do I keep confusing this? We can all start in the comment sections in these people's videos, okay? Or you can just start in your church. You can start in your church, because I think there's a lot of churches that are sleeping on young adults, and it's really bad, because those are the ones who are supposed to be like leading, maybe like the youth, like as in like youth leaders, not necessarily like the pastors and but like the leaders tend to be for the youth. It tends to be like the young adults. You get me? But like the young adults also need to be fed. They can't just be feeding people the whole time. They also need to be fed. So yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. Hopefully any of this made sense, because my brain feels so scattered. So I just hope that all of this rambles was all making sense in some way, shape, or form. Anyways, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. If you don't, please take it to the Lord. Know that I love you. Know that Jesus loves you 50 billion times more than I do. And I hope to see you again in another video or in my past videos. So anyways, thank you. See you in the next one, hopefully. Bye. Now let's see if you record it. That's the test.